90% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in they Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters don't move, whatever click you choose. When you got there this next time in Pelican Bay, the blacks and whites are going at it. So what is that situation like?
That was crazy. I mean, at that time, I worked in the kitchen. I was the head cook. And they was letting like 2 blacks out to the yard and 2 whites. Whichever one they let out first, the whites was told that they couldn't be no victim. They couldn't go to the hole as no victim. So they was taking flight, whether they knew they was going to get slid or not. They was getting slid. They was sliding some blacks too. You know, it wasn't no one-sided to none of that, you know. And it was wet, rainy out there. So it was a lot of game goofy stuff going on, you know.
And so pretty much every time you guys would hit the yard with the whites, it would be a physical confrontation. To your recollection, for how long did that last?
It lasted a long time. It was going on before I even got there. And it all started behind a white Crip getting stabbed by the whites. You know? And I was told that by homies that had been there through it all, you know what I'm saying? But you had a lot of people that was coming in and didn't even know why, you know, didn't even know what they was mad for or at what, you know.
Right. And so initially when you left Pelican Bay the first time, you said you went down to Lancaster. I've heard a lot about Lancaster. Once again, for those who may not know, Lancaster is a prison that's maybe about an hour and a half from Los Angeles. And so it's, as far as prisons go, it's within close proximity to Los Angeles. So you have a lot of people from who are incarcerated from Los Angeles trying to get there. And it also has a large amount of black COs, I'm assuming, from the Los Angeles area. And I've heard it was always kind of, you know, a good place to do time and get bread at some point before it got ugly. So what was it like doing time in Lancaster?
When I had Lancaster, it was back in '96. I landed on D Yard, and I ended up running into some real reputable, solid older homies. You know what I'm saying? That likes me even more about prison.
Once you got the Lancaster, was it any type of, you know, was it anything that happened on the yard that, you know, any violent situations that stood out?
Lancaster, mostly fist fights, bro, because back then, like you had mentioned, Lancaster, everybody from LA is trying to get to Lancaster. It's close to the house. You trying to get them visits on, you know what I'm saying? You trying to pass. You had a lot of black COs that was from guys' hoods and stuff like that worked there. So it was you ain't trying to mess it up, you know. And I started off on the 4 yard and stayed there for about maybe a month, and then end up going over to the level 3 yard.
So when you finally paroled, how long did you stay out?
The first time 6 to 8 months. I've never stayed out more than 8 months, no matter how much time I did since I first started going to jail, juvenile hall. You know what I'm saying?
And so let me ask you a question, right? That I'm sure some people out there are wondering, people who have never been to prison. So after you go to jail the very first time, you get sent to Pelican Bay. You are initially given a 7.5-year sentence where you only have to do, or excuse me, 7-year sentence where you only have to do 3.5. You wind up catching a case where you catch a shoe and you stay in the shoe. You go to the yard. Eventually in Pelican Bay, you see somebody killed, people stabbed. How do you get back out and not keep all that in the forefront of your mind? How do you get back out and in 6 to 8 months find yourself back in prison? Why didn't any of those things deter you from going back to prison? As you think about it, looking back on it now.
I've always been trying to get my money. You know what I'm saying? And I liked robbing the person. That was my addiction. You know, like people was hooked on drugs, I was hooked on robbing. Not because I needed the money or not, because I could have it, but if I seen something I liked, I was taking it on me. And that's how I was. I grew up around wolves that was into that kind of stuff. I grew up around wolves that was into that kind of stuff, and they had laced me on it. And once, um, I got exposed to it and got away with it, it was like always there.
Right. So you might just one day possibly be going down the street and not even planning on robbing something, but if you happen to see a situation where you felt it was an opportunity, you would try to put the lick down
all the time.
And so that type of you say addiction is what led you back to prison.
Yep. Yes, sir. That's what it did. And I've been to prison 5 times. On my last trip, I did like 11.5 years. And right now I've been out 11 years almost. Yeah, 11 years. I paroled in 2013 and didn't have a violation or nothing. Made it off parole. Was able to spend every holiday with my family for a change. It took 40-some years for that to happen. Well, I'll say it took 20-some years for it to happen. I was in my 40s.
And congratulations. And so let me ask you, when you were back in that lifestyle, when you were addicted to robbing, what is the most successful robbery that you had? How much money did you get away with? What was the most you believe that you got away with? And how long did that money last you?
The most cash, probably like 100 and some thousand.
Wow.
But at this time, though, I'm with homies and we going to these clubs and we taking Rolex watches and shit like that. So, getting the watches, dumping the watches and stuff like that, was passing,
Right. And so once again, for you guys not familiar with the terminology, that's what passing is. When you go out and you basically have a successful, robbing. I guess you have a successful robbery, right? And so, being young, being of the criminal mind, so you would get this cash, and how long would you blow through it? Maybe in a couple of weeks, and have to hit another robbery.
Most definitely. I came up when I got older with a crew that's all we did. Every night we went to the clubs. You know what I'm saying? And we looking for it. What made it easy is because we dress like bait. So we got on pieces, jewelry, and all that, and that made it a lot easier to push right up on cats that had on the same thing. Right.
Okay, so that's pretty ingenious, actually. So you guys are dressing like you got money. You don't go up in these clubs looking like thugs and gang members and stuff. You got on nice suits, nice watches yourself, and so when you encounter somebody who is dressed the same, he doesn't have a feeling of that you're up to no good.
Right.
Let me ask you about, I know that you haven't been to prison in a long time, but I happen to believe you have heard a little bit about it. what do you feel now about, how you have a lot of different gang alliances who got along back in your days going to prison, and now they're not, they no longer get along. You have gangs who was cool 15 to 20 years ago. Now they're beefing, and I'm sure there are some gangs in your alliance that are not as cool as they used to be. How does that, now you being older, how do you feel about that?
Uh, hearing about it, um, more so than being a part of it, because I am about to be 52 years old, and you know, I don't I don't do the same things I used to do when I was younger. I carry myself different. But you know, answering what you said, that goes both ways. A lot of hoods that used to get along is now beefing. Um, it's because a lot of the OGs that laid the foundation for either end up dead or locked behind them walls. You know what I'm saying? So the guidance is totally different. Uh, Cat's purposes of being a part of those streets is totally different. And even more so, you got nowadays where you got Crips and Bloods that get along. My set get along with Bloods. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because you got a lot of homies and a lot of cats from different hoods that then died or either got life in prison behind these colors. And now you got this generation out here now, you know what I'm saying, to where it ain't what you wear, you know what I'm saying? It's how you coming, you know, which is crazy.
Right. And that's why I like to refer to guys who grew up in our era as traditional gang banging, but now, like you say, now for people not familiar with, with the California culture, nowadays, sometimes you'll see some Crips in more red than Bloods. And so everything has changed, and so let's move forward, man. You say you got out, you stayed out of trouble, you had changed your life. You was doing good. And, at some point in time, you started uh coaching little league baseball. And so can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so while I was in the pen on this last trip, I used to always write children books, scripts and stuff like that. And I used to always tell the homies like, man, I'm gonna get out here, man, and do something with the kids. That's what I always wanted to do. I'd end up meeting a young lady while I was in the pen, and she had two sons that was young at age, like 9 and 5 years old. And she used to bring them to come see me, and this went on for like 2 years before I got out. You know, so when I got out, they wanted to play baseball. They never played no baseball, no organized sport like that. And I had never played like no organized baseball and nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I know how to play, but I didn't like basically know the full rules and all that stuff. And so I took them to go sign up, and it's supposed to be 5 teams. Only four of them was full, and there was one that didn't have no sponsor, no coach, nothing. But it was still kids that wanted to play but couldn't sign up because they didn't have nobody.
Right.
And so the kids, I called my sons. My sons had said, "Well, you could do it. You know everything, right?" In like a sarcastic way. And I was like, yeah, I guess I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? It was something that I wanted to do anyway. And so, man, I went and learned how to play baseball on YouTube, man. My dad told me, look at the Grays, the Black Negro League. And I learned from that, Willie Mays and stuff. And I looked at Babe Ruth, on how he did it. I looked at Fernando Valenzuela, when he played for the Dodgers and stuff like that. I went old school and learned the game like that, man. ended up doing it for 3 years. The first year we made it to the championship. The second year, I think we came like in third, and the last year we made it to the championship again. And so on this third year, it was going to be my last year. I said I only was going to do it 3 years, and I threw the kids a party at the river. And this is up in Humboldt County, man. So the scenery is nice, and across this river, they had a tree with a rope hanging from it where everybody would swing on it into the water. And me being active and stuff like that, always clowning with the kids and participating and stuff like that. I get on there. I don't remember slipping. I don't remember the impact, but I ended up landing between the shallow and the deep. And I was told that I landed with my head resting on my arm like this, with my feet above my head up in the air. And so I woke up underwater looking up. And it maybe say the surface might have been, I don't know, 2, 3 feet up. I can't really say how far, but it was close where I could see it. So automatically I tried to swim up. I couldn't. My legs felt heavy, and I started going back down some. So I tried again. But every time I tried, I'm starting to slide more and more into the deep side, and now I'm looking up and I'm like, where's everybody at? Because it was kids up there, you know what I'm saying? But I don't see nobody coming down. I don't even know if I'm holding my breath all this time or not. All I know is I kept looking up and I slowly was sliding down into the deep, and I just kept looking up until I watched myself black out. Now the story on top of the surface, from what I was told, is that some parents and stuff, I had family there. My nephew Raphael, they was asking like, "Hey, what's up with Coach?" And the kids that was on the side like, "Oh, he all right, he down there playing with us." They thought I was playing when I was trying to swim up, because I'm always joking with them and stuff like that anyway.
Right.
And they like, "No, he didn't land right and he ain't came up." I was up underwater almost like a little bit over a minute and a half, and so little 14-year-old kid, uh, they say he dove down the first time. He didn't see me, couldn't feel me. Second time he dove down, pulled me up. Another parent and my nephew was on it. They got me on to the side of the bank. They started doing CPR on me. They ended up doing CPR on me for almost 20 minutes,
Wow.
before the EMTs were able to come get me, because we was in a rural area, and I had my eyes wide open, still looking up. They was full with sand, they said, you know. And finally the EMT got me there. They said I went out like 2 to 3 times with them before I could get back to the ambulance, my heart stopping and stuff like that. And the cold thing about it is they said I was talking and stuff when I got to the hospital. I don't remember none of that. But when they pulled me into the ER, um, my wife at the time and my dad was in there, and said I told my dad, "Hey, I think I'm paralyzed." And he walked out and went in to the visiting room where everybody else was at, and he fell out and had a heart attack.
Wow.
They ended up putting him in a bed next to me,
In
you
in
know,
in the same hospital room, huh?
in the same hospital room, right
Mm.
next to me in ER. And they said though, this how crazy life is. You never know. They said it was a good thing that he did have that heart attack there, because he had a widowmaker at the time, and um, for some reason, it didn't get taken care of, and they said he probably would have ended up dying in his sleep a few months later if that didn't happen.
Right.
So accident, actually saved his life. And that's another reason why I don't have no regrets. So for those that don't know, I'm paralyzed right now, from the stomach down, and I drive electric wheelchair and stuff like that, but I'm still able to move my arms and stuff like that. Uh, no brain damage, um, and I'm still a full-time parent, hands on. I ain't never stopped, you know.
Right. Well, man, that's extremely, extremely hard, right? Because when you first told me it messed me up, man, because me and this dude, we've been at two different prisons. He had a small piece of a basketball game. They were picky because he was more, they thought he could fight. You know what I'm saying? His game wasn't all that. But anyway, we played a lot of we played a lot of basketball together and stuff. So this was a good dude, man. I never, a lot of times people listen to these prison stories or whatever, but man, this dude was always smiling, always upbeat, always joking. And it's a trip that, the behaviors that you talk about, the things that you was doing in the street, I always seen the good side of you, man. And that's real. You was always laughing, clowning. And so, man, I considered the dude a friend. And so he hit me up maybe about a week and a half ago. He had seen a video or something I had done. And so when he told me, man, it just really, it touched me, man. It had me just extremely sad and down, because I always think of, what if something like that happened to me, because I'm an active dude. I still like to get out and, play basketball and jog a lot and do this and do that, man. And so it definitely must be a hard situation. So it was just hard for me to hear. And, when we're locked up, we do all this time in prison, and then, I enjoy running into people that at one point in time we possibly didn't know when we was going to get out of prison, if ever. So now to be free and see people doing good is definitely something that that makes me feel good. And then so to hear that he's in this situation, it was sad, but he's still upbeat. He's still got a good personality, and I'm glad of that, man. And the good part about it is you're still here with us.
Right. Let me say this, because I think it's very important for people to know. You guys heard part of my past and heard I've been to prison 5 times. Uh, After doing that 11 and a half years, even before I got out, like I said, I was telling homies I'm not going back to the pen. And and I said that because I never gave myself a chance, homie. Um, the streets was my first love beside my mama, you know, and I dedicated so many negative years to those streets. I couldn't get out and be in my 40s and still doing the same thing 19-year-olds is out there doing. You know, I got out and got me a job uh, 13 days after being out. I went and got mine. It was something I wanted. I said I was gonna get out and not do nothing illegal. If I ain't got it and I want it, then I'm gonna work for it. And I stuck to that. I did it for 3 years before my accident. I worked for the county and all that. I had a good job. So it can be done, bro. Never give up. Never think because of what your life has been in the past that later on you can't succeed. As active as I was, and everybody know how active. I never would think my life would end up being to where I depended on a wheelchair getting around. Because I was active, athletic. You know, um, my mind was versed. A lot of knowledge was instilled inside of me. So I just had to utilize it and go through life as a productive citizen. You know what I'm saying? Not forgetting where I come from. Acknowledging those that is going through a different struggle than I am because there's struggle in every class. Oprah is struggling. P. Diddy struggling. You know what I'm saying? And that man that you pass by every time at the light with that sign, he's struggling. You know what I'm saying? Struggle is struggle. You know what I'm saying? But it's not what you go through, it's how you deal with it. You know, and that was something that I utilized. I deal with me being handicapped now as just me sitting down, you know, because I still got a daughter that's growing up. I still have to be responsible enough to teach her right from wrong. You know, I still have sons that's growing up that haven't reached the age of 21 yet. I'm still dealing with another son that's in prison right now, you know, in his 30s, you know, and so uh, it's a lot um, that goes on in a person's life to where you never know what's going to happen, you know, but you can't give up on it.
And so let me ask you a question now, Box, because now that you're mature, you've had some, different life experiences. You said that besides your mom, your hood was your first love. Now, looking back on everything, would you change anything about becoming a Crip, or would you go through it all again?
Let me put it this way. It might sound selfish what I'm about to say, but it's real. I have no regrets about anything I've done or been through in the past. I was cool with the man or kid that I was back then, and I'm cool with the man that I am now. So I can never be the man that I am now without going through what I did. So I have no regrets. Going through it again, um, I can't say that I would or wouldn't, because I've only lived in it is what it is as it's been, because if it's meant to be, it's gonna happen. If life needs me to be in that situation to where I have to be a certain way, then I will be.
I just want to say, man, thank you. Thank you for coming on here and sharing your story with me. My condolences go out to you over the losing and passing of your son. I know that had to be extremely painful, and I know it was tough for you to come up here and talk about that, man. And so I thank you for that, and I just think that some of us sometimes, man, we need to think about, just some of the things that some of our actions and some of the stuff we do, because in my mind, at some point in time, we all need to wake up, all of us who have lived a negative type of lifestyle, we need to try to do better, for our kids and for our cousins and even people in the neighborhood who look up to us, because, from time to time, I'll run across some of my younger homies and they'll say, hey, yeah, chill, man. I remember when you used to do this. And I remember when you used to do that. And, one of my homies told me, man, I seen you one day running from the police and you jumped over the police car, all this type of stuff. And I say that to say, we never realize who's watching us, And so we need to sometimes, just think about that and just grow up and mature, and try to do better for the people that's watching us. But hey, man, thank you, Box, for coming on, sharing your story. It was extremely interesting and intriguing. And I definitely believe it'll touch a lot of people. And I believe it'll help a lot of people.
Right. Let me say this before we end, because, like I said, I done went through a few of your videos and stuff like that, and read a lot of the comments and stuff like that. I want to say this for the older cats. I'm talking to the older cats right now, and I just ask that the younger cats just listen to me on this. Older cats, like I say, I'm about to be 52. So anybody, I'll say 40 on up, that's a part of the street life, been in that street life. Right now, you should be leading as a positive example. Because when you get a certain age in life, you have an understanding of the positive way that things should be. I don't knock the cats that's still in the hood getting a grind on and stuff like that. The only thing I knock is for the older cats that's in the hood that's not balancing out their scales on positive and negative things. If you gonna illustrate a negative way of life to these young cats, also give them that opportunity of a positive side to life too. Because I don't think nobody really want their kids to follow in this street life, knowing the ways it can end. And if you a parent and you really love your kids, then you know what I'm saying is real. You know, uh, our kids supposed to bury us. We ain't supposed to bury our kids. You know, and if you a real homie, you ain't gonna tell no other homie nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? And so and like I said, when I was coming up, the older homies tapped us on the shoulder and laced us on the different ways of thinking. You know, nowadays you got old cats that's trying to be young. They dug in. You know what I'm saying? They following all these trends instead of setting them. You know, they let rap music be the influence over their lives and their kids' lives. And I just feel that the older cats, man, we need to go back and pick up from where our older homies and OGs left off at and start tapping these youngsters on the shoulder, man. They need to hear more positive stuff. You know what I'm saying? Cats is out here doing what they doing because of what they was only taught. You know what I'm saying? Gang banging is a fad now. It's all about almost a fashion statement just to be a gang member. You know what I'm saying? I remember when you didn't wear no braids in your hair unless you gang bang, and then you watched how many braids you put in your hair because you might be identified as being from a different hood. You know, I remember you only sagged your pants if you gang bang. You know, it wasn't no trend. You for sure didn't wear no tight skinny jeans. And if you had tattoos, only gang members had tattoos, you know. So times have changed, man, but we need to get back into as being the older homies nowadays and to lacing these youngsters. Whether they listen or not doesn't matter. But if you don't push that out there into the atmosphere, then you can't be one to stick your chest out and be happy about what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And you can't be mad about what's going on if you ain't try to change nothing. You know, um, it's time to wake up. You know what I'm saying? All races. It's time to wake up as all races because what America is about to go through is going to be some real detrimental, you know. And if you ain't ready, you're late.
Thank you once again, Box. For coming on, for sharing your message, man. I wish you the best. I'm definitely gonna stay in touch with you, man, and definitely keep you in my prayers.
Today is my mom's birthday. She's resting, and happy birthday, mom. Thank you for instilling that knowledge in me, and I'm pretty much sure you're missed by a whole lot of people.
And happy heavenly birthday to your mom, man, and thank you once again.
All the time.
All right, hey, take care, fam. I'm gonna holler at you.